Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Cylinder forming a long narrow part of something. A slender or elongated structure that supports a plant or fungus or a plant part or plant organ. Stop the flow of a liquid. Stem the tide. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. Thematic vowels are part of the stem. A turn made in skiing. The back of one ski is forced outward and the other ski is brought parallel to it. Front part of a vessel or aircraft. Cuz to point inward. Stem your skis. Grow out of, have roots in, originate in. The increase in the national debt stems from the last war. Remove the stem from. For automatic natural language processing, the words must be stemmed. The tube of a tobacco pipe. Cylinder forming a long narrow part of something. Lower part of the leg extending from the hock to the fetlock in hoofed mammals. The narrow part of the shoe connecting the heel and the wide part of the sole. A cut of meat, beef or veal or mutton or lamb, from the upper part of the leg. A poor golf stroke in which the heel of the club hits the ball. Cylinder forming the part of a bit by which it is held in the drill. Cylinder forming the part of a bolt between the thread and the head. Hit, a golf ball, with the heel of a club, causing the ball to veer in the wrong direction. The part of the human leg between the knee and the ankle. Material consisting of seed coverings and small pieces of stem or leaves that have been separated from the seeds. A slender or elongated structure that supports a plant or fungus or a plant part or plant organ. A hunt for game carried on by following it stealthily or waiting in ambush. The act of following prey stealthily. A stiff or threatening gait. Follow stealthily or recur constantly and spontaneously to. Her ex-boyfriend stalked her. Go through, an area, in search of prey. Stalk the woods for deer. Walk stiffly. An interruption or temporary suspension of progress or movement. A halt in the arms race. The state of inactivity following an interruption. During the halt he got some lunch. Cuz to stop. Halt the presses. Stop from happening or developing. Stop the flow of a liquid. Come to a halt, stop moving. The event of something ending. Disabled in the feet or legs. Stop the flow of a liquid. Firm and dependable especially in loyalty. A staunch defender of free speech. Stop the flow of a liquid. Staunch the blood flow. A terrorist network intensely opposed to the United States that dispenses money and logistical support and training to a wide variety of radical Islamic terrorist groups, has cells in more than 50 countries. Of low birth or station, base, is archaic in this sense. Base-born wretches with dirty faces. Use, purified cocaine, by burning it and inhaling the fumes. Lowest support of a structure. It was built on a base of solid rock. A support or foundation. The base of the lamp. The most important or necessary part of something. A place that the runner must touch before scoring. Illegitimate. Numeration system. The positive integer that is equivalent to 1 in the next higher counting place. A phosphoric ester of a nucleoside. The basic structural unit of nucleic acids, DNA or RNA. A lower limit. Serving as or forming a base. The painter applied a base coat followed by 2 finishing coats. The fundamental assumptions from which something is begun or developed or calculated or explained. Linguistics. The form of a word after all affixes are removed. The place where you are stationed and from which missions start and end. The stock of basic facilities and capital equipment needed for the functioning of a country or area. The industrial base of Japan. Having or showing an ignoble lack of honor or morality. That liberal obedience without which your army would be a base rabble. Any of various water-soluble compounds capable of turning litmus blue and reacting with an acid to form a salt and water. Bases include oxides and hydroxides of metals and ammonia. Not adhering to ethical or moral principles. Base and unpatriotic motives. Installation from which a military force initiates operations. The attack wiped out our forward bases. Use as a basis for, found on. Base a claim on some observation. A flat bottom on which something is intended to sit. A tub should sit on its own base. Anatomy. The part of an organ nearest its point of attachment. The base of the skull. Debased, not genuine. An attempt to eliminate the base coinage. Electronics. The part of a transistor that separates the emitter from the collector. Situate as a center of operations. We will base this project in the new lab. The bottom or lowest part. The base of the mountain. The bottom side of a geometric figure from which the altitude can be constructed. The base of the triangle. The principal ingredient of a mixture. Glycerinated gelatin is used as a base for many ointments. Used of metals, consisting of or alloyed with inferior metal. Base coins of aluminum. Used of opinions and actions, far beyond the norm. Radical opinions on education. Especially of leaves. Located at the base of a plant or stem, especially arising directly from the root or rootstock or a root-like stem. Radical leaves. An atom or group of atoms with at least one unpaired electron. In the body it is usually an oxygen molecule that has lost an electron and will stabilize itself by stealing an electron from a nearby molecule. In the body free radicals or high-energy particles that ricochet wildly and damage cells. Linguistics. The form of a word after all affixes are removed. Markedly new or introducing radical change. Radical political views. Chemistry. Two or more atoms bound together as a single unit and forming part of a molecule. A character conveying the lexical meaning of a logogram. A person who has radical ideas or opinions. Arising from or going to the root or source. A radical flaw in the plan. Mathematics. A quantity expressed as the root of another quantity. Of or relating to or constituting a linguistic root. A radical verb form. A simple form inferred as the common basis from which related words in several languages can be derived by linguistic processes. someone from whom you are descended, but usually more remote than a grandparent. Become settled or established and stable in one's residence or lifestyle. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. The set of values that give a true statement when substituted into an equation. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. Communism's Russian root. Dig with the snout. The pig was rooting for truffles. A number that, when multiplied by itself some number of times, equals a given number. Botany, the usually underground organ that lacks buds or leaves or nodes, absorbs water and mineral salts. Usually it anchors the plant to the ground. Cause to take roots. Cheer for. She roots for the Broncos. Come into existence, originate. The problem roots in her depression. Plant by the roots. Take root and begin to grow. This plant roots quickly. The embedded part of a bodily structure such as a tooth, nail, or hair. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. Music, melodic subject of a musical composition. The theme is announced in the first measures. An essay, especially one written as an assignment. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. The subject matter of a conversation or discussion. His letters were always on the theme of love. A unifying idea that is a recurrent element in literary or artistic work. It was the usual, boy gets girl, theme. Provide with a particular theme or motive. The restaurant often themes its menus. A turn made in skiing. The back of one ski is forced outward and the other ski is brought parallel to it. A knot with two loops and loose ends, used to tie shoelaces. Bending the head or body or knee as a sign of reverence or submission or shame or greeting. An appearance by actors or performers at the end of the concert or play in order to acknowledge the applause of the audience. Something curved in shape. Yield to another's wish or opinion. The government bowed to the military pressure. Bend one's back forward from the waist on down. She bowed before the Queen. Front part of a vessel or aircraft. He pointed the bow of the boat toward the finish line. Bend one's knee or body, or lower one's head. He bowed before the king. A decorative interlacing of ribbons. A slightly curved piece of resilient wood with taut horsehair strands, used in playing certain stringed instruments. A stroke with a curved piece of wood with taut horsehair strands that is used in playing stringed instruments. A weapon for shooting arrows, composed of a curved piece of resilient wood with a taut cord to propel the arrow. Bend the head or the upper part of the body in a gesture of respect or greeting. He bowed before the king. Play on a stringed instrument with a bow. Near or toward the bow of a ship or cockpit of a plane. The captain went or forward, to check the instruments. Front part of a vessel or aircraft. Situated at or toward the bow of a vessel. Front part of a vessel or aircraft. A chamber within which piston moves. A cylindrical container for oxygen or compressed air. A solid bounded by a cylindrical surface and two parallel planes, the bases. A surface generated by rotating a parallel line around a fixed line. A functional and structural unit of a plant or fungus. An appraisal of the state of affairs. A check on its dependability under stress. Be verified or confirmed. Pass inspection. These stories don't check. Make cracks or chinks in. The heat checked the paint. A mark left after a small piece has been chopped or broken off of something. Examine so as to determine accuracy, quality, or condition. Check the brakes. Develop a child's or animal's behavior by instruction and practice, especially to teach self-control. Become fractured. Break or crack on the surface only. Lessen the intensity of. Temper. Hold in restraint. Hold or keep within limits. The state of inactivity following an interruption. Held them in check. Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. Slow the growth or development of. A written order directing a bank to pay money. He paid all his bills by check. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Mark into squares or draw squares on. Draw crossed lines on. Additional proof that something that was believed, some fact or hypothesis or theory, is correct. A mark indicating that something has been noted or completed, etc. As he called the roll, he put a check mark by each student's name. The act of inspecting or verifying. They made a check of their equipment. Something immaterial that interferes with or delays action or progress. The bill in a restaurant. He asked the waiter for the check. Put a check mark on or near or next to. Please check each name on the list. Be compatible, similar or consistent. Coincide in their characteristics. The handwriting checks with the signature on the check. Hold back, as of a danger or an enemy. Check the expansion or influence of. The act of restraining power or action or limiting excess. Abandon the intended prey, turn, and pursue an inferior prey. Arrest the motion of something, abruptly. He checked the flow of water by shutting off the main valve. A textile pattern of squares or crossed lines, resembling a checkerboard. She wore a skirt with checks. Block or impede, a player from the opposing team, in ice hockey. Chess, a direct attack on an opponent's king. Consign for shipment on a vehicle. Check your luggage before boarding. Decline to initiate betting. Hand over something to somebody as for temporary safekeeping. Make an examination or investigation. Check into the rumor. Obstructing an opponent in ice hockey. Place into check. He checked my kings. Stop for a moment, as if out of uncertainty or caution. She checked for an instant and missed a step. Stop in a chase, especially when scent is lost. The dog checked. Verify by consulting a source or authority. Check the spelling of this word. Write out a check on a bank account. The phonological or orthographic sound or appearance of a word that can be used to describe or identify something. The phonological or orthographic sound or appearance of a word that can be used to describe or identify something. A piece of stored information that is used to identify an item in an information storage and retrieval system. The phonological or orthographic sound or appearance of a word that can be used to describe or identify something. The visual appearance of something or someone. A perceptual structure. The composition presents problems for students of musical form. The phonological or orthographic sound or appearance of a word that can be used to describe or identify something. The inflected forms of a word can be represented by a stem in a list of inflections to be attached. Make something, usually for a specific function. Any spatial attributes, especially as defined by outline. Establish or impress firmly in the mind. A body of students who are taught together. Create, as an entity. Social groups form everywhere. Biology. A group of organisms within a species that differ in trivial ways from similar groups. A category of things distinguished by some common characteristic or quality. Sculpture as a form of art. A life-size dummy used to display clothes. Develop into a distinctive entity. Alternative names for the body of a human being. The spatial arrangement of something is distinct from its substance. To compose or represent. This wall forms the background of the stage setting. Give shape or form to. Form the young child's character. Physical chemistry. A distinct state of matter in a system. Matter that is identical in chemical composition and physical state and separated from other material by the phase boundary. A mold for setting concrete. They built elaborate forms for pouring the foundation. An ability to perform well. He was at the top of his form. An arrangement of the elements in a composition or discourse. The essay was in the form of a dialogue. A particular mode in which something is manifested. His resentment took the form of extreme hostility. A printed document with spaces in which to write. He filled out his tax form. Assume a form or shape. The water formed little beads. To break and turn over earth, especially with a plow. Turn the earth in the spring. Twist suddenly so as to sprain. I turned my ankle and couldn't walk for several days. Pass into a condition gradually, take on a specific property or attribute, become. The weather turned nasty. Cause to move around a center so as to show another side of. Turn a page of a book. Undergo a change or development. The water turned into ice. Let something fall or spill from a container. Turn the flour onto a plate. Cause a plastic object, to assume a crooked or angular form. The strong man could turn an iron bar. Undergo a transformation or a change of position or action. We turned from socialism to capitalism. Pass to the other side of. Turn the corner. Have recourse to or make an appeal or request for help or information to. She turned to her relatives for help. Turning or twisting around, in place. A favor for someone. He did me a good turn. Change to the contrary. The tides turned against him. Game. The activity of doing something in an agreed succession. It is my turn. A short performance that is part of a longer program. A circular segment of a curve. Sports. A division during which one team is on the offensive. A time period for working, after which you will be relieved by someone else. A movement in a new direction. The turning of the wind. An unforeseen development. Events suddenly took an awkward turn. The act of changing or reversing the direction of the course. He took a turn to the right. Go sour or spoil. The cream has turned, we have to throw it out. Accomplish by rotating. Turn a somersault. Alter the functioning or setting of. Turn the dial to 10. Become officially 1 year older. She is turning 50 this year. Cause to change or turn into something different. Assume new characteristics. The princess turned the frog into a prince by kissing him. Cause to move along an axis or into a new direction. Turn your face to the wall. Cause to move around or rotate. Turn a key. Change color. In Vermont, the leaves turn early. Change orientation or direction, also in the abstract sense. The mugger turned and fled before I could see his face. Channel one's attention, interest, thought, or attention toward or away from something. The pedophile turned to boys for satisfaction. Direct at someone. She turned a smile on me. Get by buying and selling. The company turned a good profit after a year. Move around an axis or a center. The wheels are turning. Shape by rotating on a lathe or cutting device or a wheel. Turn the legs of the table. Taking a short walk out and back. We took a turn in the park. The act of turning away or in the opposite direction. He made an abrupt turn away from her. To send or let go. They turned away the crowd at the gate of the governor's mansion. A movement in a new direction. The turning of the wind. The act of changing or reversing the direction of the course. Act of changing in practice or custom. The law took many turnings over the years. A shaving created when something is produced by turning it on a lathe. The activity of shaping something on a lathe. The end product created by shaping something on a lathe. The side that is forward or prominent. A person used as a cover for some questionable activity. A group of people with a common ideology who try together to achieve certain general goals. He led the National Liberation Front. Be oriented in a certain direction, often with respect to another reference point, be opposite to. The immediate proximity of someone or something. He was well behaved in front of company. Confront bodily. The line along which opposing armies face each other. A sphere of activity involving effort. The Japanese were active last week on the diplomatic front. Meteorology, the atmospheric phenomenon created at the boundary between two different air masses. Relating to or located in the front. The front lines. The outward appearance of a person. He put up a bold front. The part of something that is nearest to the normal viewer. He walked to the front of the stage. The side that is seen or that goes first. Be oriented. Determine one's position with reference to another point. We have to orient ourselves in the forest. The hemisphere that includes Eurasia and Africa and Australia. The countries of Asia. Adjust to a specific need or market. A magazine oriented towards young people. Cause to point. Familiarize someone with new surroundings or circumstances. The dean of students tries to orient the freshmen. Come from. Break from a meeting or gathering. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. This machine withdraws heat from the environment. Cause to be returned. Lose interest. Retire gracefully. Pull back or move away or backward. Keep away from others. Take back what one has said. Make a retreat from an earlier commitment or activity. Withdraw from active participation. Release from something that holds fast, connects, or entangles. Remove a commodity from a supply source. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. Remove a threat. Kill intentionally and with premeditation. Go away or leave. Dispose of. Cause to leave. Get rid of something abstract. The death of her mother removed the last obstacle to their marriage. Shift the position or location of, as for business, legal, educational, or military purposes. He removed his children to the countryside. Degree of figurative distance or separation. Just one remove from madness. Remove from a position or an office. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. Be capable of holding or containing. This box won't take all the items. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. Take the gun from your pocket. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. I don't take sugar in my coffee. Make a film or photograph of something. Take a scene. Be designed to hold or take. This surface will not take the dye. Require time or space. Take somebody somewhere. Can you take me to the main entrance? Have sex with. Archaic use. He had taken this woman when she was most vulnerable. Have with oneself. Have on one's person. She always takes an umbrella. Receive or obtain regularly. We take the Times every day. Admit into a group or community. Head into a specified direction. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. Take into consideration for exemplifying purposes. Assume, as of positions or roles. Interpret something in a certain way. Convey a particular meaning or impression. How should I take this message? Lay claim to, as of an idea. Accept or undergo, often unwillingly. Make use of or accept for some purpose. Take a risk. Take something or somebody with oneself somewhere. Engage for service under a term of contract. Shall we take a guide in Rome? Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. Take as an undesirable consequence of some event or state of affairs. Get into one's hands, take physically. Can you take this bag, please? Require as useful, just, or proper. It takes nerve to do what she did. Occupy or take on. Receive willingly something given or offered. Be a student of a certain subject. Proceed along in a vehicle. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. Ascertain or determine by measuring, computing or take a reading from a dial. Take a pulse. Be seized or affected in a specified way. Take sick. Buy, select. I'll take a pound of that sausage. Carry out. Take action. Experience or feel or submit to. Obtain by winning. Winner takes all. Take by force. Take into one's possession. I'll take 3 salmon steaks. The act of photographing a scene or part of a scene without interruption. Travel or go by means of a certain kind of transportation, or a certain route. He takes the bus to work. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. Buy and consume food from a restaurant or establishment that sells prepared food. Take out or remove. Take away apart from, diminish. Remove from a certain place, environment, or mental or emotional state. Transport into a new location or state. Get rid of something abstract. Take from a person or place.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.